YouTube friends. Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today I want to talk with you about cichlid aggression and specifically how everything that you've heard out there, whether it's on YouTube or from buddies and also from me, is not true and probably actually lies, not intentional lies, but really not accurate. And I'm going to cover with you what I mean right now. So, what am I talking about exactly? What I mean is this. In talking with a lot of cichlid keepers, hundreds of them over the years, and certainly a good number of them at Aquashella this last weekend, in my own personal experience, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what we do. It doesn't matter if we lower the temperature, if we give a fish a timeout, if we remove all the females from the tank, if we keep the lights out for long periods of time, if we stock heavily, if we stock lightly. You know, I've tried it all. I've tried it all. And the people that I've spoken to over the years, they've tried it all too. And after all of this anecdotal input, all of this personal firsthand experience that I've heard about, my conclusion is this. It's the luck of the draw. And you know what? I'm not superstitious. I don't really believe that much in luck per se. I think we make our own luck with hard work and knowledge and research and all that good stuff. But when it comes to cichlids, you're going to get a fish that has a predisposition or a temperament of being a killer, or you're not. Right now, I have a Eureka Red Jake. The fish is a killer. Could that change as he gets older? Perhaps. Could he have been peaceful for a while and then become a killer? Also, perhaps. Maybe you love a Venusis, but you're afraid to get one because you've heard the stories that they're highly aggressive. I've had highly aggressive Venusis that I had to give away. I've also had Venusis that were very, very peaceful. Eye biters. I've heard lots of horror stories about eye biters. Eye biters are beautiful fish. Maybe you want one. Maybe you're holding back on getting one. But the truth is, you could get lucky. You could get lucky with a Venusis. You could get lucky with an eye biter. You could get one that turns out, I mean, for every time I've shared a story about a fish that was tearing up other fish, underneath the video, there's half a dozen people that say, I own that fish and he's a pussycat. He doesn't bother anybody. He just hangs around, or he's the tank boss, but doesn't really hurt anybody. And so for every story of a crazy aggressive fish, you're going to hear from somebody who has that same fish who tells you that it's okay. Now, this doesn't apply to all cichlids. Look, you're talking about a dovie, right? A jaguar, something like that. Look, it's going to, maybe there's a few out there, right? These fish, some of these fish are very, very extremely on the near psychotic scale of aggression. Those fish, that doesn't apply to. But your run-of-the-mill cichlids, your Otopharynx tetrastigma, right? Your dragon bloods, your OBs, your hawks, like the hawk on my Hat Nation shirt. These fish are a roll of the dice. Buccochromis notatania. For me, those fish have been just big goofy fish that just sort of hang around. Other people have told me they've had bucanonos that were killers. So here's my advice. Get the cichlids you want, but have spare tanks. Spare tanks that will allow you to either pull out a fish that needs to recover from a beating or to put a fish in that has turned into a killer that you need to rehome. But realize that it really is a luck of the draw. It really is the temperament of that individual fish, and you might get lucky. You might get that. You might get that living stone eye, that gar, that that linny, or that venusus that is okay, is cool, and or you might get one that's just a cold-blooded killer. That's why keeping cichlids, African cichlids, is not for everybody, because you have to cycle through some of them, and in doing so, there's probably going to be some casualties. But when it settles out, when you've gone through the process of sorting it out, and it finally settles out, and you have some tank balance, which might be short-lived or it might go on for a long time. When you reach tank balance with African cichlids, there's really no fish in the freshwater world, I think, that compares to the just the shape, the interaction, the activity, the color, the pop of those colors. It's very hard to find. Maybe discus, maybe some smaller, maybe fish that are very small, right? That that you got to get real close to look at to tell how beautiful they are, right? Some guppies have gorgeous colors, but you got to get up there close to see them. I'm talking about these big, popping, beautiful fish that people walk into your house and go, is that a saltwater tank? You reach that balance, you're going to have something really special. But to get there, you're probably going to have to cycle through several of the fish that you want till you find the one with the right temperament. And even after you do, that little crazy switch in their brain might get clicked, that switch might flick, and all of a sudden they go insane. So again, have those spare tanks available, but work on it. Don't give up. If you want to fish, hit and miss, you'll find the balance eventually. But my tip to you, don't spend too much time on timeouts, on rearranging decor, lowering temp, keeping the lights off, all these things that we hear floating around the community, because in the end, if you got a killer, you got a killer. And other factors, are there females in the tank? Is there a tank boss? Who is the tank boss? There's lots of moving parts here, right? It's a fluid situation. But that's my tip, and I'm going to stick to it. And I hope you find this useful. I know it can get a little frustrating for cichlid keepers sometimes. And if there's one thing that gets people to abandon keeping African cichlids, it probably is the aggression. They get tired of having to deal with it. But if you can get that balance, if you can get a tank that is somewhat going to get along to the point where there's some chases, which you'll probably always have, but nobody is actually out to tear anybody else up or kill them, then you're going to have a spectacular tank, and you're going to be very happy you have African cichlids. It's not easy, but if you get there, it's very much worth the effort. Okay? Those are my 2 cents, and I want to find out from you what you think about that. What are your thoughts about aggression and African cichlids? What's been your experience? And share it below. Your comments are important. We do read them. And I hope to see you on Saturday for cichlids and coffee. And we could talk about this and a lot of other subjects pertaining to fish keeping, not just about cichlids. We talk about filtration and media and food and water parameters and tank maintenance. We talk about all kinds of stuff. That's Saturday at 11 o'clock Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Hope to see you there. It's a great group of fish keepers. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that bell and hit that sub button and that notification bell, because that tells YouTube that something good is going on here, and it encourages YouTube to tell other fish keepers like you and me to check out the channel. And that's a great thing. Remember, this is the only channel on YouTube that offers a 100% money-back guarantee. Thank you for tuning in, my friends. You rock, and always be learning.